Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're exploring a concept that honestly made me completely rethink how we communicate. Have you ever considered that the actual physical sounds you make when you speak could be a direct map to your own consciousness? It sounds a little out there, I know, but we're diving into some deeply fascinating research by Eternity Leonard. It decodes how the acoustic resonance of a single, ancient, seven-letter word, Lauviah, maps perfectly to human biology, brainwave states, and the very architecture of our minds. It's this incredible journey from the absolute densest physical matter all the way up to pure cosmic awareness. And we're doing it using absolutely nothing but the sound of your own voice.
But to really get how this works, we have to ground our journey in the actual physics of sound. You see, every single spoken sound creates a specific frequency range, which acousticians call a formant. Think of it as a peak of acoustic energy that's produced by the exact physical shape of your vocal tract. You are literally building an instrument with your throat, your tongue, and your lips, even if to everyone else it just sounds like you're clearing your throat. And when these specific vocal frequencies are paired with an intentional rhythmic delivery, well, they do something pretty profound. They encourage what's known as brainwave entrainment.
Let's break that down for a second because brainwave entrainment is key here. It's basically the process where your brainwaves naturally just slide into synchronization with an external rhythm or tone. It's kind of like tuning a guitar string, right? Your brain naturally wants to match the frequency of the acoustic environment it's hanging out in. So when we break down the phonetic pitch of each letter in the word Lauviah, we aren't just looking at linguistics anymore. We're looking at a super precise sequence of vocal frequencies that literally tune our brainwaves. They act as a vehicle for our cognitive ascent. It's essentially an acoustic elevator, and we're about to step right onto the ground floor. We begin our acoustic elevator ride at the absolute physical floor of the vocal tract with the letter L. I want you to actually feel this. If you say L, your tongue creates this heavy physical bridge right against the roof of your mouth. Linguists call this a voiced alveolar lateral approximant. But what it does physically is it causes the sound to resonate super heavily and deeply in your chest and your jaw. It's got this slow, heavy, droning bass quality to it. It is the absolute grounded anchor of the entire word. And this brilliantly illustrates the connection between physical sound and neuroscience. Because the acoustic profile of the L sound has a really low first format, vibrating right around 250 to 300 hertz, this physical anchor perfectly mimics the extremely slow, grounding pulse of the deep Epsilon brainwave state. Epsilon waves operate at under 0.5 hertz, so we're talking about a deeply foundational, almost completely suspended state of being. The L anchors the sound squarely in the dense physical body, exactly like how Epsilon anchors the deepest, heaviest part of our subconscious mind. So from that heavy foundation, we shift to the letter A. There's a reason doctors tell you to say ah, It naturally drops your jaw, lowers your tongue, and leaves your vocal tract incredibly spacious and completely unconstricted. By just releasing that tension, it naturally boosts the fundamental frequency of your voice, letting this warm, deep, primordial tone carry outward into the room. What's really fascinating here is how this directly impacts our nervous system. This open, unconstricted ah sound, which by the way is universally found in ancient meditative chants like Om or Amen, allows for deep, slow, diaphragmatic breathing. This specific physical action actually triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, inducing a profound relaxation that beautifully mirrors delta brainwaves. Operating between 0.5 and 4 hertz, delta is the brainwave state of restorative deep sleep and physical healing. So just by opening the vocal tract, we seamlessly transition from the heavy anchor of Epsilon straight into the deep relaxation of delta. Next, from that wide open space, we shift to the letter U. This is an oo sound. Notice the sudden physical shift here. Your lips round and protrude outward, which effectively lengthens your vocal tract. What this does acoustically is severely dampen the higher frequencies. It completely drops the sound into a hollow internal echo that gets trapped right inside your skull and your sinuses. Because this sound is literal introspection, vibrating entirely inside the head rather than projecting outward, it perfectly mirrors the theta brainwave state, vibrating gently at 4 to 8 hertz. Theta is the twilight zone of the mind. It's the soft landscape of lucid dreaming, deep meditation, memory consolidation, and hypnagogia, that elusive, magical bridge right between waking and sleeping. The inward physical echo of the oo sound is physically replicating the inward, reflective gaze of the theta mind. Then, suddenly, the energy shifts right into waking awareness with the letter V. This is where the physical body really starts to engage again. Your upper teeth lightly touch your lower lip, forcing air through a very narrow space while your vocal cords vibrate.
You can actually feel this steady physical humming buzz right on your lips, right? It creates this continuous, oscillating white noise texture that completely wakes up the senses. In acoustic therapy, stable, continuous humming patterns exactly like this are used specifically to stimulate the vagus nerve. And when you stimulate the vagus nerve in this way, it induces a distinct state of relaxed alertness and calm focus. And wouldn't you know it, that state of calm focus is the exact hallmark of the alpha brainwave state, operating at 8 to 12 hertz. We have effectively moved out of the dream state of theta and crossed right into the calm, reflective gateway of the conscious waking mind in alpha. Now we narrow our focus completely with the letter I. Phonetically, this is an E sound. Your tongue pinches extremely close to the roof of your mouth, leaving only a tiny, highly pressurized channel for air to escape. The resulting sound is an incredibly sharp, bright, piercing, and highly directional beam of acoustic energy. It literally cuts through the space. The crucial point to grasp here is how this physical tension perfectly maps to our mental reality. Sustaining that sharp E sound requires precise physical muscle tension so your voice doesn't crack. Acoustically, the frequency spikes massively, reaching up to 2500 hertz. This high-frequency acoustic energy physically mirrors the beta brainwave state, oscillating at 12 to 30 hertz. Beta is our standard waking state. It is sharp, analytical focus where the brain is actively processing external real-world data. The intense physical tension in the mouth is a direct reflection of the active problem-solving tension of a highly logical mind. We now return to the letter A, the ah sound. But context is literally everything here. We aren't starting from a relaxed, resting position anymore. We're moving rapidly from the incredibly tight, highly pressurized I directly into the wide-open ah. This sudden transition creates a massive, dramatic acoustic shift. It acts as an explosive launching pad, releasing a sudden, powerful burst of harmonic energy across your entire vocal spectrum. When this sudden acoustic shift happens, it physically triggers a gamma spike in the human brain. A gamma wave occurs when completely disparate regions of the brain suddenly link up. It's that unified aha moment of intense insight, peak performance, and high-tier cognitive processing, firing at a blistering 30 to 100 hertz. The rapid acoustic transition from the tightly wound I to the explosive ah physically embodies this gamma spike. It's a sudden, expansive burst of sound and space that commands immediate top-tier cognitive awareness. And finally, we reach the absolute highest floor of our acoustic elevator with the letter H. What happens here is that your vocal cords completely stop vibrating. It is pure, unvoiced breath, a wide-spectrum, friction-based whisper with absolutely no fixed pitch whatsoever. It is a completely open-ended release. The H represents the total dissolution of the physical voice back into silence. It is the wind leaving the physical instrument and transitioning entirely into formless space. And this perfectly maps to Lambda brainwaves. Lambda waves are these rare, ultra-fast oscillations at over 100 hertz, and brilliantly, they actually ride directly on top of the incredibly slow Epsilon waves we started our journey with. They represent total wholeness, microperception, and transcendental consciousness. The physical voice dissolves, and pure awareness remains. Okay, let's take a breath for a second. Think about the number 7. It is deeply fascinating how this number acts as a universal bridge. The word Lauviah contains exactly 7 letters. And as we just saw, those 7 letters map perfectly to the 7 stages of our neurobiology, the 7 brainwaves. But according to the research, this number extends way beyond linguistics and neuroscience, acting as a skeleton key for our ancient energetic systems too. Just as there are 7 letters and 7 brainwaves, there are 7 primary chakras that form the complete energetic column in human anatomy. Notice how these energy centers climb. You start at the root, which represents grounding and physical survival, much like our heavy, droning L and the Epsilon state. You then move up through emotion, will, compassion, expression, and intuition, finally reaching the crown, which represents spiritual connection and pure cosmic consciousness. It is the exact same ascending ladder, moving from dense physical matter straight up to the ethereal. We also see this perfectly reflected in the windows of human perception. We're commonly taught we only have 5 senses, but to experience reality accurately, we actually rely on 7. We have the famous 5: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. But we also absolutely rely on 2 vital internal senses that usually go unnoticed. Proprioception, which is your internal body awareness, knowing exactly where your limbs are without looking at them. And the vestibular sense, your sense of balance and spatial orientation. These higher, much more complex senses keep our physical vehicle completely aware in space, tracking perfectly with our journey upward toward higher awareness. So let's pull all of this together. We've mapped an incredible ascent across 4 completely interconnected systems. We have the 7 letters from L to H, the 7 brainwaves from Epsilon to Lambda, the 7 chakras from root to crown, and the 7 senses, moving from physical touch all the way up to spatial orientation. Lauviah isn't just a word. It acts as a precise mnemonic for human design itself. Every single one of these columns represents the exact same transition. We start at the absolute densest physical anchor, and we climb the ladder, step by step, straight up into the most subtle, fast, and ethereal energy of pure consciousness. Which brings us to the absolute highest floor, right where the sound completely stops. The final H, the lambda state, the crown. I want you to truly consider this question. When the heavy vibration of the L is gone, when the sharp analytical focus of the I is completely released, as the physical sound of your very own voice dissolves entirely into the formless space of consciousness, what remains of the observer? It's a profound thought to take with you today. Thanks so much for exploring with me, and I'll see you next time on The Explainer.